Hi guys, my name is 604 Starcraft, and I'm finally back to do commentaries again in games played in Starcraft 2. So hope you enjoy my casts, and without further ado, let's get it started. So spawning here in the top right hand corner, we do have the Zerg player SwitchBack, and his opponent for the match will be the Protoss player prabuty. Prabuty or prabuty? I think I'm going to call him prabuty because it sounds a bit cooler. So prabuty here, Protoss player. I did look up both these players' rankings. Prabuty and SwitchBack both are high level Master League players. They're both ranked around, I think they both have around 3,000 ladder points. So this is going to probably be a fairly good match. And the map they are playing on is Blistering Sands. In case you aren't familiar with Blistering Sands, it is most infamous for having two entrances to a player's base, through the front, of course, and the other through these backdoor destructible rocks. So we'll see if these rocks kind of play a role at all in this matchup. And I apologize in advance for not casting games as of late. I just haven't really had the time, and I actually haven't been really playing StarCraft all that much. So pardon me, or excuse me if I maybe miss out on kind of maybe the newer builds or what's going on in the StarCraft world, but I have been playing a couple games, so hopefully this is a good game, maybe a good intro for me to get back onto the ladder. So we have prabuty here who did scout it early. He's probably looking for the pool. You can see that SwitchBack did go for an early pool, and he does have an early gas. So what that's probably telling me is he's probably going to go for speedlings fairly soon. So prabuty will be aware of that. Prabuty here did opt to go for kind of a wall closer to his base. What's common on Blistering Sands is for Protoss players to kind of wall off their front entrance here, kind of make a forge fast expand, or even a gateway wall. Pump out enough units to defend it. Grab the expansion here so they can get two bases, and then kind of when they're done macroing up their big army, they can move out, break these rocks, and move out this way. So I think prabuty here is opting to kind of just play it safe here, just playing off one base. He did get the gas already, so we'll see how that plays off. He is a bit supply blocked, which is never a good thing. And we can see here, prabuty here is researching Zergling speed now. He does have two early Zerglings, probably just pick off this probe. He probably expected that prabuty's going to get an annoying probe, which is common to what players usually do to kind of stop the Zerg player from getting an expansion whenever they feel like it. You can see the Zerg player is going to drop down an expansion, so we're probably not going to see any kind of early aggression here from the Zerg player. He's probably just going to sit back, use the wait for the Zergling speed to maybe to help it kind of get him map control, as well as defend against anything, any kind of early push. And SwitchBack here did actually get his drone into prabuty's base right before the Zealot spawn. As you can see, he just took one whack in the face there. So he was able to look to see prabuty probably didn't have much at that point, but he did see the cybernetics core, probably saw the chrono boost as well, and he does have a overlord position here. Probably going to move it in later time to see. So at this point here, prabuty here did drop down 2 warp gates. So right now he has 3 warp gates. He might be going for a 4th one, and we'll see how that build deviates a bit. He has 2 warp gates. He might be thinking about dropping down a 3rd. Right now at SwitchBack's base, he does have the roach warning thrown down, so I'm assuming just because he did get the early gas and he still had kept 3 drones throughout the whole time, we might see some roach play at this point, and the roaches might actually be very effective, as I think at this point, just because prabuty doesn't really have much. He does have sentries to block off the ramp, but likewise he does have to remember on Blistering Sands there is these backdoor rocks which could play a major role in kind of as another entrance for SwitchBack to get into his base. So right now SwitchBack here is putting up some static defenses with a spine crawler. Maybe he's a bit worried because he hasn't gotten a scout in since to see what's going on in prabuty's base. Prabuty here is still playing off 3 gateways, so he is saving up quite a bit of money. Maybe he's planning to go for an expansion, so he's going into the 3 gate into expansion build, which is fairly safe because he does have enough sentries to protect him in case of anything happens, any kind of Zergling rushes or run-bys or anything like that. SwitchBack here is moving out, and we can see he does have 5 roaches here, and a couple more Zerglings coming down on the protection tab as well. I think he was able to spot this proxy pylon as well, which is great. Great work by SwitchBack. I kind of missed it on my end, apologize. So this Zealot is probably going to try to make it home or run it home, but he probably won't be able to make it. He just kind of gets a couple chops at this roach before kind of dying to a smoke of air. And prabuty here is kind of doing a counter. He does see that SwitchBack did go for roaches, so he's expecting maybe a large roach push, and that's very smart of him to kind of drop down a Stargate, because as we know, roaches cannot hit air, and Zerg players usually have to tech up to a layer, which is on its way now at this point. But if he does get an early Void Ray, that can turn the tide of the battle, just because likewise roaches can attack air. And we can see SwitchBack here is running a couple Zerglings in here just to kind of see. I don't know if he's actually seen it. Let's just see. If we just take a quick look at SwitchBack's point of view, he did see the expansion, so he does know that it is 2 base to 2 base, and he probably may be thinking about grabbing a third, or we'll see what he plans to do right now. But at this point, SwitchBack is completely in the dark. He has no idea that there's a Void Ray approaching. And smart play here by prabuty with these Sentry Force Fields. He will be able to prevent this army from... Great job there, kind of splitting up the army, like I mentioned earlier, but actually there was a little crack there. So huge mistake here by prabuty here. SwitchBack will be able to come in, and all these poor probes might actually be taken out. And if we just take a quick look at the income tab, we can kind of keep an eye on the harvester count. And like we said, prabuty here, great use of the Void Ray. He should actually maybe run these units away and kind of let the Void Ray focus down these roaches. So as soon as this Void Ray charges up, all these roaches are going to be toasted. But in the meantime, SwitchBack is microing his roaches to kind of do as much economic damage to prabuty as possible. And if we just take a quick look here at the units tab, so you can see SwitchBack isn't letting up on the aggression here. He's sending more and more Zerglings to kind of harass the probe line, which is great, because even at this point, prabuty only does have 1 Void Ray, a couple Stalkers, and these annoying Zerglings are doing their fair share of damage to prabuty's probe count. So as you can see already, he's far behind, and as you just saw, SwitchBack's drone numbers just pop up. So in the meantime, throughout that whole time, SwitchBack has still been microing, or macroing in this case, and he's still been creating lots and lots of drones, and he's going for that Hydro list tech. So you probably get some Hydro lists out, but at this point, SwitchBack does only have 2 queens. It might have been safer if he did pump out a third. Not only, queens are effective for Zerg to help spreading the creep, but it might have helped him to defend against this Void Ray. Because at this point, all SwitchBack has is, I think, let's take a quick look at the units tab. Only 1 Roach, 13 Zerglings, and 2 queens, which isn't a lot to actually stop. Pardon me, excuse me, to stop this 1 Void Ray. But he did get an additional queen, so actually he does have 2 queens out now. So these 2 queens should be able to handle this Void Ray no problem. I actually might be able to take it out 1 shot away, so this lucky Void Ray does get away. And SwitchBack here does have his auxiliary hatchery now, so he will have 3 hatcheries, which should provide him with enough creep. In the meantime, we do see these destructible rocks are finally being taken down here by prabuty. And like I said, this map is